Welcome to Dr. Shiny Tarot. This is a daily pick a card reading for December the 15th, which is Tuesday. And the purpose of this reading is to give you a brief piece of advice or to help guide your overall focus for the day. If you are looking for a more longer, detailed reading, check out my channel. I have daily readings, monthly readings, and many others. If you're new to pick a card readings, the way this is going to work is you're going to select from the three piles here, and then you'll go down to the description and click on the timestamp for your selection, and it'll skip ahead in the video to your reading. Now, if you do feel compelled to choose more than one, that's totally fine. We're going to get a little visit here by Mistress Cleopatra. She wants to pick a card. Okay, that's enough, baby. All right. Cats happen. Anyway, so if you do feel compelled to pick more than one card, that's fine. Just go with your intuition, and all these cards are going to have some good advice for you, so it's really just going to be a matter of which one is more accurate than the others. Now I have three crystals here to aid in your selection. This first one is Picture Jasper. Then I have a little ingot of copper. And then this is Smoky Quartz, a rough Smoky Quartz that's been all chipped up, which looks really cool. And I like it. Anyway, so I'm going to give you about 30 seconds of silence so you can meditate on your choice if you want to. And then when you have your choice in mind, just go ahead and find the timestamp in the description below. So let's go ahead and start the 30 seconds right now. All right, so if you have not already done so, please go ahead and make your selection and then scroll down into the description to skip forward to the selection that you've made. So we're going to go ahead and get started with deck number one. This will be for the Picture Jasper. If you chose that Picture Jasper, you're having the Six of Coins, the Strength card, and Queen of Coins in the reverse. Okay, so Six of Coins, this means that there's one of two possible meanings here. You're either in a position of abundance where you are giving kind of charitably, or you're receiving said charity. So you're on one end or the other here. Usually I feel like it's more of a, in particular with this kind of a spread, it's probably more so that you're in the giving position, and so it's not necessarily just money. The guy here in the picture is giving money, but it could be your time, it could be your energy, your effort, your care. It could be anything like that, where you have this abundance and you are giving it to others, you're helping others out, and probably not getting a whole lot in return for that. Maybe some good feelings and things like that, but it's not like a business transaction. It's really you're kind of giving something away. So what's challenging you or crossing you, influencing you, is the Strength card. This is saying that you're having a little bit of trouble with strength. Is not like external strength in this case. It's talking about more of an internal strength or willpower, and that kind of thing. So you're being asked to kind of deal with the emotions with like a steady poker face a little bit. It may be trying your patience to deal with these people, to help these people, but it is probably in your best interest to maintain that tact. And if you are being taken advantage of, you just have to be firm and matter of fact and just like cut it off and to not let it continue. And you have that choice, of course. And the way this works is that you may feel that you have to the lion here could probably gobble this little woman up very quickly if he chose to. But she's got such a steady hand. She's got such a calm presence that she kind of uses the lion's strength for herself. So there may be some aspect of that where you're like afraid of what somebody might do or something like that. But your advice card here is this Queen of Coins in the reverse. And this is suggesting a sort of like a lack of self-confidence, but it's not a lack of self-confidence that's necessary. So, in other words, the Queen of Coins is very sure and confident. She's good at what she does. She's a very resourceful person. She's good at saving. She's good at managing her finances and whatnot. But in this reverse position, it's kind of meaning that there's a little bit of a lack of self-confidence in those abilities. So going back to the alternate meaning, if you're in the receiving position, that could mean that you're a little bit less confident than you need to be in your ability to support yourself, take care of yourself. Confidence is everything. If you are confident, others will kind of follow you just instinctively, because we all have a little bit of a sense of that when somebody's confident or not confident. We don't want to be taking advice or following somebody who doesn't display confidence, because if they're not even confident in themselves, why should we be confident in what they're telling us to do, right? So we look for confidence to be an indicator of trust or trustworthiness. So confidence is very important, and there's some of the old advice, fake it till you make it, right? So you've got to learn confidence for sure. It's not something that you can just, I say it's not something you can turn off and on, but you actually kind of can. It's just a matter of finding the right mindset. So, and that kind of involves, if you're afraid, if you're worried about what might happen, you don't defeat that fear by focusing on it, by focusing on the object of your fear. You defeat the fear by focusing on what bravery is. And that's how you kind of get over anxiety in general a lot of times. So you want to focus on what does it look like to just have confidence, to really be sure of yourself and sell that, and really drive that home and display that confidence. And that'll help you out here in this situation. I always forget to turn that off. Okay, so that is about it for this card. We are going to go ahead and move on to card number 2. So if you chose card number 2 with the copper, this is for you. Okay, so you have the World, the Emperor, and the King of Wands. Okay, all right, interesting. So big things happening here. The World is the signal of a cycle of completion, right? So there's some accomplishment, something that you set out to do. You've taken that initial energy of the Magician and card number 1, and it's come full circle, it's matured, and it's time to move on to a new phase or a new lesson in life. So a lot of times, I see this card more often than not in the reverse, because a lot of people are resistant to sort of move forward, to grow. They kind of like being where they are. That Peter Pan syndrome of never wanting to grow up is very, very common these days. But in this case, you have completed some phase of your life. Some struggle is now sort of behind you. But that means that a new struggle, or I don't want to say struggle because that sounds negative, a new challenge is ahead of you, a new lesson to be learned from life. And this tends to be a really big thing. It tends to be a big cycle. So think like graduating, or graduating from high school to go to college, graduating college and going to get a job. Just big life events that are different. Maybe you got married and you're going into a new form of life, a married life, that kind of thing. So these are typically big changes, which are signified by the accomplishment of some particular goal. And what's crossing you, or challenging you here is this Emperor. So Emperor is all about authority. So it may be that now you're getting into a place where you're having to listen to a new boss, or there's a masculine, a forceful, and strong energy that is kind of weighing down on you a little bit. You're having to operate under new constraints or new supervision or something like that, which is causing a little bit of difficulty. It's not that it's unbearable or anything like that, but it's a new sort of challenge for you to work with. You may be used to a little bit more freedom or being unsupervised or something like that, and that's kind of changed a little bit. And so now that whole concept of authority is grating on you a little bit. So your advice for the situation, though, is this King of Wands. So this character always reminds me of like Elon Musk, because I feel like this card looks like him. And let me try to put it as close as I can so maybe you can see it. But to me, it looks just like Elon Musk. And that is great, because that's who I picture when I think of this King of Wands. And that means it's somebody who's a doer. Somebody who's really, gonna stick his nose to the grindstone and get things done, and brute force the issue. He's not worried about being like super subversive or clever or something like that in a way of like taking advantage of people to get what he wants. He really puts the work in. He does, wands are about action. This is the King of Wands. This is the king of action. This is the king of doing and of seeing what he wants manifested into the real world. This is a very determined person. So this is your advice. This is asking you to be very determined about what you want, very methodical, and unrelenting, right? So you may have this, intimidating energy that's coming at you, which is making you feel, a little bit hesitant or unsure of yourself, or even just, a little uncomfortable. But the energy here that you need to have is this raw determination that you're not going to be knocked off course by this, that you're going to learn to operate within the constraints of that supervision, and you're going to just keep pushing forward no matter what, and have this sort of resolve that is not defeatable. And that's the way for you to get through this situation well. So that's about it for that card. For card number 2 with the copper. So we're going to move on now to card number 3, which is the Smokey Quartz. And if you chose that Smokey Quartz, you have that Chariot in the reverse and the 8 of coins. Okay. And then the star in the reverse. Okay, this is pretty interesting. So the Chariot in the reverse is like an indication that you don't feel like you've really accomplished something. There's something that's left undone. You're kind of you're working towards something, some end goal, but you don't feel like you quite have it figured out yet. You don't feel like you're ready to move on to some new phase or something like that. And it can also be like a little bit of imbalance. It can be, being tugged left and right a little. Not having a great work-life balance, this can be. Of course, that would be more closely associated with that like 2 of coins. But it's still a factor here where, you're not there at the end yet. So it can be difficult to balance that work life. And I've experienced this myself recently where it's like, I definitely am not where I want to be or doing what I want to end up doing, but you still have to remember to just like live life a little bit, to enjoy the present, and you can't just put all of your energy and your time into getting somewhere else. And it's a bad idea to do that anyway, because it's like you're never guaranteed tomorrow, right? So if you live your life like that, that could end up very unfortunate for you. But you also, it's like there's no end to what could be done. So you have to learn to be grateful for what you have. And that gratefulness has a way of attracting more gratefulness to you. So it's like freeing up that mental energy and not feeling stressed all the time has a way of helping you to feel more energized and able to make better decisions. And those better decisions sometimes go a lot longer way than your just raw hard work and effort. So you've got to learn to just sort of, take it one step at a time and break down the process into a series of small accomplishments. So it's like if you're, replacing the engine in a car, you don't want to basically just, feel like it's not over until the thing is completely done. You break it down into a series of steps. Like, I need to put this gas line in, and then once you get that done, you give yourself a sense of accomplishment. You have to pat yourself on the back a little bit, and that's what keeps you moving. Because otherwise, the whole process of life can get really daunting and really it can kind of wear on you. So you've got to learn how to break long processes down into small chunks that you can have like an interval of rest between, and you can enjoy your successes. So, and what's crossing you kind of reinforces this idea with this Eight of Coins. Eight of Coins, very diligent, hard work, very busy. But this is challenging you or influencing you. So there's definitely a necessity here for you to remember that while the work you're doing is good, that Eight of Coins energy is really good. There's nothing wrong with it. You also have to to adjust your focus a little bit, to not be ravenously determined to the point where you're not thinking about anything else. You're not able to let go of the work for a minute and enjoy yourself and relax. So you got to remember to kind of turn the dial down if you're a little too aggressive towards your goals. What you have for your advice card here is this star in the reverse. So it can mean that you're a little bit, you're trying to control the situation. You're trying to control the outcome just a little bit too much. You're not having quite so much faith that things are going to be okay, that things are going to work out. And instead, you are essentially trying to eliminate as many variables as possible through your own efforts and hard work. And so for advice, the idea is to, have faith that some things are just going to work out in time, that, where you're going to be in 5 years from now or even a month from now is not the same position that you're in right now. There's so many infinite variables that will change what's necessary. So if you're making like a good, honest effort to improve things, it's not, you don't have to feel guilty about taking rest or things like that. You have to learn to enjoy life. And like I said, if you feel like that's laziness or something, well, keep in mind that you're not going to be as successful if you are not rested and if you're not approaching situations with like a fresh mind. So for your own sake of being successful, you have to include that as part of your routine, right? Like if you're a bodybuilder or, you just go to the gym, you don't just lift weights the entire time. You have to have rest between your sets. You do 8 and then you rest for 30 seconds, a minute, I don't know, depending on your routine. But you have to have that rest to be able to build your strength up. Otherwise, you're just kind of risking injury and you're not really going to grow, because rest is that time where you actually regather your strength. So you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't keep going all the time and expect things to work out well. You've got to learn to kind of set back a little bit and relax and have faith that when you come back to it, you're going to do a better job than you would have if you didn't ever leave it. And that takes some faith. And, you know, a lot of people are not into the concept of faith because they associate it with like faith in religion or God or anything like that. But faith is required from everybody on a basic level. You know, I mean, you have to have faith that when you're sitting down in your chair, it's not going to fall out from underneath you, right? So you also have to have faith that even if you're not all the time 100% working, you're gonna reach your goals. Do you know what I mean? And that is almost just as important as actually working towards your goals, is to have that faith that it's going to work out. So anyway, that's about it for the reading for today. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them. I love to answer comments. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the next daily reading.